Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about a comedy romance film called Paper Towns from 2015. Enjoy your viewing. The guy talks about how he believes that miracles happen to everyone. Quentin believes that people can win the lottery, get an unexpected promotion at work, and much more. His own miracle was that Margot lived across the street from him. When he sees his new neighbor, Quentin literally cannot take his eyes off her. He drops the ball and realizes that he is hopelessly in love. Over time, because of their neighborhood and their similar age, they begin to become friends and ride bicycles together. One day while they are riding, Margot sees a man dying. At night, she sneaks over to Quentin's house and tells him that she is investigating the man. Despite the late hour, she is going to go to the water park to visit his ex-wife. Quentin thinks that his friend was so fond of mysteries that she became one herself. Time passed, and the friends began to drift apart. However, Quentin kept hoping that one day this would change, and they would be close. Margot grew up and continued to behave in an unusual way that many people began to notice. The girl's life turned into a series of incredible adventures. Once she traveled with a circus for 3 weeks, and then with a popular music group. Wherever Margot went, she left clues for those who were dear to her. Quentin is sad that he is not part of this circle of people. It is the last year of school, and he and Margot hardly ever talk. His mother drives him to school and hopes that he will still go to the graduation. Quentin watches Margot chatting with the popular students at school and heads over to his friends. Ben jokes that he really likes Quentin's mom. He decides to ask a girl to the prom, but she refuses. Quentin recalls that out of all his friends, only Radar has a girlfriend. But he can't invite her to his house because his parents are obsessed with getting into the Guinness Book of World Records for having the largest collection of Santa Clauses. Until the end of his studies, Quentin hardly thought about Margot because he was busy with school, extracurriculars, and plans for the future. One night, however, this suddenly changes. He wakes up to a noise and sees Margot on his windowsill. The girl asks Quentin to be her accomplice and take her mother's car to help her. Margot suddenly remembers that she has 10 problems for the night, one of which is her ex-boyfriend named Jace. Quentin agrees to help her. On the way, Margot promises that this will be the best night of his life. The first stop on their way is a large store. Margot decides to ask Quentin what his plans are for the future and how he will achieve happiness. Quentin tells her that he would like to have children and a good career by the time he is 30. Margot thinks it's sad that he can't be happy right now and has to wait more than 10 years for that. She shows Quentin her shopping list. At the checkout, the guy tries to convince the cashier that everything is not so strange. After shopping, Margot finally tells him about Jace. It turns out that she recently found out that he had been cheating on her with her friend for several months. Margot asks Quentin to drive up to Becca's house and sees her boyfriend's car there. The girl begins to realize her plan. Despite Quentin's fears, Margot blocks the car and then tells Becca's father that Becca is having fun with her boyfriend. Margot's friend films a naked Jace running for his life across the lawn. However, the girl does not stop there. She is going to sneak into Becca's house. Quentin decides to follow her, although he realizes that this will not end well. Margot puts a fish in her friend's wardrobe, leaves a note, and the first letter of her name on the wall. At that moment, footsteps are heard in the hallway, and the friends escape through the window, then quickly get into the car. Margot's next goal is revenge on Lacey. She believes that her best friend betrayed her because she did not tell her about Jace's infidelity. Margot wraps Lacey's car in cling film and leaves the first letter of her name on it. The girl is imbued with respect for Quentin and asks him to make another stop. This time, her revenge is to be taken on a guy named Chuck because he is Jace's best friend. Margot admits that once Chuck forbade all the girls to dance with him, and she obeyed him. Margot suggests that she get back at Chuck by shaving his eyebrows. Quentin refuses, but the girl reminds him that it's better to take advantage of an opportunity that may not come again. In the end, the guy agrees, and meanwhile, Margot leaves her sign and smears something slippery on the doorknob. When Chuck wakes up, the friends manage to escape, leaving him without eyebrows. Margot turns the music up to full volume, and Quentin watches her lovingly. The next stop, despite Quentin's fears, is the roof of the building. Margot takes him with her because she knows the guard. They observe the city at night, and the girl calls it paper, just like the people who live in it, because everything important to them is just an illusion. Quentin musters up the courage to ask Margot to dance. The girl thinks that if she had been with him, everything might have been different. She hugs Quentin tightly and asks him to step out of his comfort zone. The next day at school, the boy feels incredibly confident and even fights back against Jace. However, his joy quickly disappears when he learns that Margot has disappeared. Like everyone else, Quentin begins to wonder where she is and with whom. Soon, while out with friends, Quentin notices a cardboard figure of a singer in Margot's window. He gives Margot's sister some money to let them into the room. Following the clues left behind, Quentin realizes that Margot wants him to find her. In the school corridor, he sees Lacey. The girl tells him that she didn't know about Jace's infidelities, and now her best friend is missing, and her boyfriend has left her. Hearing this, Ben offers Lacey to go to the prom together, but she ignores him. The girl believes that Margot spent her last night with Quentin for a reason. Together with his friends, he discusses the clues he found and suggests that Margot might be hiding in New York. Quentin tries to decipher the signs in the book, spending evenings studying them. He manages to find another clue in his room. Radar realizes that the address given is in a disadvantaged neighborhood, but Quentin suggests going there in the morning. The friends make their way into the creepy abandoned house, trying to find more clues, or even Margot herself. Ben manages to read the inscription on the wall. "You will go to Paper Cities and never come back." At home, Quentin learns that Paper Cities are ghost towns that are marked on maps but do not exist in reality. At school, Lacey talks to a boy and tells him that Jace is throwing a loud party. His friends also want to go, but Quentin is angry and decides to continue looking for Margot. He returns to the abandoned house and sees Margot. The girl kisses him and calls him cute, but Quentin wakes up to a phone call. It was just a dream. At the party, he doesn't know what to do, but eventually decides to stay. In the restroom, Quentin meets Lacey, who tells him about her problems. He tries to support her and asks her to contact him if she needs help. In Jace's room, Quentin manages to find Margot's atlas, which has one page torn out. He picks up his friends and drives back to the abandoned house. To calm down, Quentin suggests that they all sing a song together. Suddenly they hear a noise, and Quentin stops abruptly. Lacey appears from a hole in the wall and confesses that she has been following them, hoping they will find Margot. Quentin finds a map and realizes where the girl might be. Radar lists the names of the cities and reveals that one of them is one of the paper ones, Aglow. Quentin and his friends decide to go there. Many funny things happen along the way. At the gas station, the friends calculate everything so that they can fill up the car and buy food in 6 minutes. The evening comes. Ben admires the sleeping Lacey while Quentin leaves a message for his mom. On the way, Quentin gets distracted by talking and almost crashes into a cow. He is saved from the accident by Ben, who suddenly turns the steering wheel sharply. Lacey thanks him for his help and hugs him. Together with his friends, Quentin sits on the side of the road while the girls sleep in the car. Ben thinks that soon school will be over and their friendship may end. When Lacey arrives, Quentin leaves her alone with Ben. The girl, having heard many nice things about him, invites him to the prom. Sitting in the car, Quentin recalls how Margot once sat next to him in the passenger seat. Meanwhile, Radar confesses to Angela that his parents have a huge collection of Santa Clauses in their house. To his surprise, the girl laughs good-naturedly and says that she doesn't see anything strange about it. In the morning, Radar tells his friends that he played night games with Angela in the forest. The girl is not offended by this, as she believes that she will only win in this way. Lacey and her friends continue their journey, but Margot is nowhere to be found. The friends keep reminding Quentin about the prom. The boy admits that if they don't find Margot, then this whole trip will have no meaning for him. He throws Ben the car keys and asks him to return to the prom without him. After sitting outside the house for a while, the boy finally gives up and goes to the train station. On the street, Quentin notices Margot and calls out to her. However, the girl is surprised that he has come for her. Margot explains that she left a note to reassure everyone and explain that she is fine. She takes Quentin to a cafe and admits that she feels paper herself. Quentin suddenly realizes that Margot did not ruin his last days at school, but rather gave them a new meaning. The girl kisses him goodbye and invites him to stay with her. However, Quentin realizes that he must return. He realizes that Margot was never a miracle, but only a human being. Arriving at the prom, Quentin realizes that his main miracle is his friends. Saying goodbye before he leaves for college, Radar gives them Santa Claus figurines. Quentin recalls hearing different stories about Margot, but he doesn't want to live in stories anymore. He wants to start enjoying his own life. If you have watched the video so far, you should know that I am happy to have viewers like you. Thank you for watching to the end. Subscribe to the channel and follow the news. Klonsak Recapped was with you. See you soon.